The book under analysis is The Lord of the Rings, an epic three-volume fantasy novel series written by John Ronald Reuel Tolkien, a linguistics scholar who is known as one of the greatest fantasy writers of all time. He was an English writer, poet, philologist, and academic. The Lord of the Rings has become a popular phenomenon, being written during 1940s and published in three separate volumes in 1954 and 1955. The Lord of the Rings is perhaps the most inspiring example of high fantasy written in English language. High fantasy is a genre of fiction that typically takes place in a medieval-like world, yet it may not share many specific details with actual world or medieval history. Talking about the historical background, it should be mentioned that Tolkien was a professor of linguistics, and as such, he was well informed about many various political and social issues. This background influenced his works. In fact, he likely got the idea of the One Ring from Plato's The Republic, in which the philosopher discusses the ring, an artifact that could turn the wearer invisible. Additionally, some critics believe his history of the fictional setting of the trilogy was based on the Norse legend of Sigurd the Volsung. The setting of events is a medieval-like country, Middle-earth, a fictional world created by Tolkien. The main actions happen to the inhabitants of the country, people, and many mystical creatures, such as hobbits, orcs, trolls, ents, elves, wanks, wizards, dragons, and dwarfs. Middle-earth is a magical world in which imagination rules, but it exists very much like real society with political and economic problems and even power struggles. Each of the races that inhabit this world has their language, own territories, and is distinct from one another. Part 1 is set in Bag End in the Shire, a community of mostly hobbits. At the end of part 1, a group of traveling main characters leaves for Rivendell, an elf kingdom. Part 2 takes place beyond the Shire in the rough worlds between Bag End and the citadel of Saruman, the Tower of Orthanc at Isengard. It also takes place in the Tower of Sorcery, Minas Morgul, where the evil Sauron lives and rules. Part 3 takes place in Mordor, a mountain range containing the volcano Orodrun. It also takes place on the road between Mordor and Bag End, and the novel concludes just where it began, in Bag End. There are a lot of main characters, but in the very beginning we meet Bilbo Baggins, a hobbit, his nephew Frodo, and Gandalf, a magician. The action starts after Bilbo Baggins' birthday party, when Bilbo wants to leave country, and Gandalf insists that Bilbo remove the ring that he has owned since the events of the previous adventure, which are chronicled in the book The Hobbit, and give the ring to his young hire, Frodo. So the ring has special powers, the most obvious of which is to make the wearer invisible. Bilbo leaves it and disappears. For many years, Frodo lives in Bilbo's home, in Bilbo's house in Bag End in Shire. One day, Gandalf comes to Frodo and tells him that Sauron, the Dark Lord, owner of the ring, wants the ring back in order to conquer the world. It is decided that Frodo will take the ring to the Crag of Doom in Mount Orodrun. He is to be accompanied by his friends Sam, Merry, and Pippin. He is to be as they travel, the Black Riders of Sauron pursue them. The Black Riders are bodiless horsemen who want the ring. The travelers meet up with Aragorn, Gandalf's a friend of Gandalf, Legolas, an elf prince, Gimli, a dwarf, Boromir, the eldest son of Denethor, steward of Gondor and lord of Minas Tirith. Together they are called the Fellowship of the Ring and continue their journey. On their way to Mount, they face many adventures and also deaths. After events in the mines of Moria, the kingdom of dwarves, Gandalf battles a dreadful spirit and falls into an abyss. Frodo decides to travel only with Sam, fearful of the consequences of his friends being corrupted. At the same time, other companions meet other inhabitants of the Doom of the Middle Earth, the riders of Rohan and Treebeards. Making their way to the Crag of Doom, Sam and Frodo capture Gollum and make their way to the Mount. At that time, the capital of Middle Earth, in the Tower of Gondor, Denethor is raising an army against the Dark Lord. The army moves out to Mordor, and Sam and Frodo make their way toward Mount Doom. Gollum, however, overtakes them, and just as Frodo comes to the Crags of Doom, Gollum obtains the ring, biting off his finger. Gollum is so excited about having the ring back that he falls into the abyss, carrying the ring with him. Mount Doom erupts with the force of the destroyed ring. Sauron is defeated, and the Eagles rescue Sam and Frodo from the erupting volcano. After this, the hobbits reach the Shire, which has been completely transformed by Saruman and his servants. They restore it with some help from Lady Galadriel, an elf princess, an elf queen. The novel ends with Frodo's retirement. Elrond, the queen of elves, Gandalf and Galadriel accompany him and Bilbo to the Grey Heavens. Sam, Merry and Pippin return to live a full life in Hobbiton. The story is told in a third person. The narration is chronological. For the most part, flashbacks are only used to reveal some history, as then the author explains the nature of Gollum or the story of Dark Lord and his Black Riders. The mood is definitely imaginative, fantastic, and adventurous. Middle Earth is a new world where the rules and norms are vivid and dynamic. As with any epic, Lord of the Rings provides a reader with a spectrum of emotional tones and moods. At one part, you emphasize the main hero who is left alone, but in other part, you are happy to see how Pippin and Merry are saved by the ants and so on. So really vivid and various emotions are led and are provided to the reader to feel throughout the book. What is more, in the end, the reader's response may be as changing as the Middle-earth landscape. Depicting a middle-aged world, the author tackles many significant moral issues, including lust for power, war between good and evil, altruism, responsibility, harmony, and religion also. I believe the novel to be dedicated mostly to lust for power and the ultimate struggle between good and evil. Throughout the book, Tolkien has given instances of the evil and horrifying influence of the ring, which represents power and change its owners. It seems that everyone who possesses power is ruined by it. Good heroes, for example, Saruman, Frodo, and even Gollum, were once good, but during the book we see how they have changed. Only Frodo can escape the influence of the ring, others appear to be weaker. Gandalf and Galadriel are afraid of the ring. They have seen firsthand that good people can be ruined by this evil ring and refuse to take it, as they don't want to be ruined by the power. On the other hand, even the best of men and be compelled by the ring. For example, Boromir thinks he can handle the ring and not be affected by it, but his desperation gives him way. The ring, which is synonymous with life-lasting power, is an attraction for many, but none can possess it. So there is an irony in the title. There can never be a lord of the ring, as no one can control it.